Identity over outcomes. Because you can chase outcomes your whole life and still feel empty at the end. If who you are doesn't match what you're building, what is the point? Welcome back, y'all. It's your boy Kevin B. the Brand, and this is another week of Dear Legacy. This is episode 14, y'all. And if this is your first time here, I want you to know, first of all, thank you for tuning in. And this is just not another podcast. It's more of an open letter to ourselves on to who we're becoming and who we've been, right? The goal is always simple: to slow down, to think, reflect, and move through life with intention. Because legacy, in my opinion, isn't something you leave behind. It's something that you build every single day, right? And I want to take a second and acknowledge something. Because episodes 10 through 13, it's been an arc. If this is your first time here with us, I do storyline arcs, where it's like we're trying to learn something together by breaking them down into different segments. So I think this is right now, we're on our third arc. And episodes 10 through 13's arc, we've talked about things that we accept. We've talked about the decisions that are shaping our lives. We also talked about feeling when the feeling when we know something feels off, right? We also talked about stop lying to ourselves, because we do that daily. That's 4 episodes of honest, uncomfortable conversations, right? And I put myself on Front Street. You're here with me, and I'm the one giving you the raw truths of me, but you get to do it silently. And you don't have to do it silently. You could join the conversation, right? And we could be doing this thing together, growing together. And as uncomfortable as it may be, and if you've been in it with me, then you know it takes some real work. We've gotten honest with each other. We've named a few things, right? Maybe you've even started owning some things you've been avoiding. That's key. So now the question isn't what's going on. The question is, what do you do with it once you figure it all out from the story arc? Because we're never gonna figure this thing all the way out, right? But that's what episode 14 is for me. And while I was sitting here prepping my notes for it, I kind of got a little bit excited, because it's like you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like we're embracing a few things, we're challenging a few things, challenging the status quo, not living for just the moment, but longevity, right? And in order to do that, we have to have some type of breakthroughs. This one is where the awareness meets action. This is where we move, right? There comes a point where you already know. You've looked at the standards. You've examined your decisions. You sat with the signal. You stopped lying to yourself. You've done all the hard part. You faced it. Kudos. So now the question isn't what's going on. The question is going to be what you actually going to do with it. Because here's the thing about clarity. By itself, it doesn't change anything. You can see clarity. You can see clearly. You can understand it. You could talk about it. But if nothing changes in your actions, nothing is going to change in your life. And that is where most people get stuck. Not because they don't know, but because they don't move, right? They think about it. They plan it. They wait for the right moment. And then they stay exactly where they are. And it's crazy because I give you different avenues to digest a lot of these things, right? So I give you this is our long form conversations. But last week I started a challenge, right? Through the quick thoughts of the days, stacking the small wins, right? the ability to just start, but starting with intention, right? So today, there's no more confusion. There's no more figuring it out. You already have what you need. Now it's time to actually move, because clarity doesn't change your life. What you do with it does. That's key. It's what you do with it. And it kind of let's just jump right into the first core theme, right? Where clarity without action changes nothing. Let's start there, because this is where a lot of people live, in the space between knowing and doing. And that space feels productive. It feels like progress. But if nothing is changing in your life, that space is just in an uncomfortable place to just stay stuck. I mean, let's really break it down, right? In the first segment, I really want us to look at knowing isn't the same as doing. Because understanding something and acting on it are completely two different things. Like, we could understand something in life. In life, we understand some things like right from wrongs, when to start, and we've done the researches. But actually doing something is something totally different. Because we, like myself, we consume a lot of the content, right? We're going to consume it, having the insights, feeling inspired by what we just heard or what we just saw, things that I can't even say things that we just did because we haven't done it yet. All that is great, but it doesn't move the needle by itself. Knowing what you need to do and actually doing it are not the same thing. Because there's a gap between understanding and execution. And that's where a lot of the growth goes to die. Because we understand it, and now we actually have to pull the trigger and actually do something about it. That's the action part. But without the action, you could even go back to those of us that are faith-based people. What's the line that they always say? Action without works is not going to do nothing, right? You could have the best awareness in the room and still not change anything. At some point, the learning becomes this part, and it's going to get you here. But then to get to that next level, that's the living part. That's the part that we have to cross that threshold from taking that action, right? Because what's something let's flip it on to me. What's something I already have known for a while that I still haven't acted on? And I can tell you right now, it's probably setting up the merch stores, the website, so that people could actually find me, so that people could actually bring me on for speaking, bring me on for pods, come on to my show, right? Getting the Dear Legacy merch out there. Getting the Please Excuse My Balls merch out there. Where is the website? I have all the information. We subscribe to everything, but I just have not taken the action. Another thing, my media team has been asking for me to do certain things for the social media side of things and for the YouTube channel. Still, no action is being taken. And with no action, we're going to start to lose momentum. Losing momentum is going to create a void. And the next thing you know, we're quitting. That's the part. That's the part where when you get stuck in that space of actually knowing what you need to do and doing what you need to do, that's where things could go wrong. And that's what we're trying to avoid. You don't need another breakthrough. You need to move on the one you already had. And a lot of times the reasons why we don't move is because we're still sitting and overthinking things. I will tell you, raising my hand right here, I have a problem with overthinking things. I have a problem with aesthetics and how things look. And I think it's because it's my business and marketing background, because we have a saying in marketing where it's first to market wins. But you only get one shot at it, right? And it kind of like first to market wins. And then you look at prime example. I always say when you're doing a ride share, there's about two major players in ride share, and there's other ones that are in the space as well, right? But we call it all Uber. Why? They were first to market. First to market, but they started messy. They had to figure out a lot of stuff. They had to go and get permitting. They had to go and get all this stuff. They had to fight the taxi companies. They had the lawsuits. They had this, they had that. But you know what? They started. Now everybody else that came behind them, even if it's cheaper, even if they're better, it doesn't matter. Because we're all going to Uber. You can call a Lyft and still tell people Uber. That's the difference of actually where some of us be at, where we understand and have the information, we have the knowledge, we're just not executing. Me, prime example. And this is me knowing a business background. I know that I'm supposed to start messy and grow from there. But at the same time, our business brains has always told us that you only get one shot. Your first impression is all that. So that I have that little voice that was like, wait, it's not ready. Then I start overthinking it. Then I'm like, oh, I don't like the layout on this. Let's tweak this. Let's fix that. Just go ahead and hit that start button. And I'm talking to me as well. Let's jump in. Let's jump into the next segment that kind of leads right into what we're talking about. Overthinking is a delayed action, because there's the difference between thinking it through and using the thinking that we had is hiding in plain sight. That's all we're doing. Every time we sit here and overthink a situation, we're just hiding our true momentum. We're hiding our productivity behind that by overthinking these things. Trying to get every detail right before you start, that's not preparation, that's just hesitation. And that one hits home. That one definitely hits home because it is hesitation. You're afraid of what people are going to think. You're afraid of if people's actually going to like it. Guess what? And I've said this before, and I keep saying it again just so I can psych myself off. All I need is one. Get one person to buy into it. That one is going to turn into 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 50, 50 to 100. Next thing you know, you have 1,000 people consistently with you. All you need is 1,000. That's the number I'm trying to get to, 1,000. 1,000 people to stick with me and rock out with me consistently. Everybody else, it's great. Get to the hundreds of thousands, get to the millions of thousands. But those people, they're going to come, they're going to go. They're going to come, they're going to go. But I need my consistent 1,000. And those of you that's been rocking with Dear Legacy, those of you that's been rocking with Please Excuse My Balls, I appreciate every single last one of y'all. 13 and 12, I believe the numbers are. I'm going to get to the 1,000. I'd rather the 1,000 than 100,000 because 1,000 is going to stay consistent with me. But you know how that 13 is going to drop to a 7, 7 is going to drop to a 4, 4 is going to drop to a 1 because I keep hesitating by overthinking things. They're already here with me. Focus on the 13. Planning so long that planning becomes work. Now you're getting frustrated with yourself because you want to sit down and you want to plan. I did this, and then now you walk away from it. You come back, you're still in the planning phase. You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna get burnt out. Then you're not gonna want to do this no more. This is what overthinking is doing for us. And I'm gonna say us because this is what it's doing for me as well. It's doing it to me currently, right now. Waiting for the certainty that isn't coming. The first step always has some sort of a uncertainty with it. So why does it matter so much? Why do we need to have all of it perfect? Because we're not going to get it perfect. Because you know what's going to happen? We're always going to have to keep developing. We're always going to have to keep going back into the lab and reinventing certain things. Because that loyal 13 to 15 that you got going on with you, it's going to get stale at some point. You're going to have to re-engage them in order for them to stay. Getting people to come is one thing. Getting people to stay, that's the real work. But when you're overthinking stuff and you're hesitating on certain things, that's how you're going to lose them. You're going to lose them, and they're probably not going to come back because they've already been here before. They've already seen it. They've been there, done that. You know? The more you overthink, the bigger the thing is going to get in your head, and the momentum, the movement shrinks and it slowly breaks down. The question that I have for us is, where am I overthinking something right now instead of just starting? I told you, where's the website? We don't need some intricate website that has multiple pages on. Get a landing page, a one pager that could scroll up and down, couple of information. You have the Shopify that you could just directly link to your page. What are we waiting for? We're overthinking things. Why isn't the YouTube page set up so we could get the shorts to people? We're giving all the long content, but some people, they don't consume like that. And we know this. Some people consume based off of the shorts, based off of the minis. Some people only want the under 2 minutes. Others, they could sit for 3 to 5 minutes. And only a few, when they're busy on that traffic to work, and they're sitting around and they're doing something in the background, they have that hour to 90 minutes that they could give you. But don't rob people of nuggets that you have because you want to worry about some aesthetics of a page that you're not giving the people what they could actually consume in quick notions. 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there. You know, your thought of the day, and the thing that's crazy for me is it's proven. Quick thought of the day is successful. Eyeballs on it, the likes are on it, the comments are getting, the DMs are going. The TikTok for the sports show, it's shown you. The numbers are in the thousands at a time. Comments, likes in the hundreds. So the shorts work, but we're robbing people of the Dear Legacy shorts. We're robbing them on the YouTube side. We're robbing them on the other platforms that we're using because we're overthinking stuff. You're not preparing when you're overthinking. You're postponing. And there's a difference between the two. If you don't think there's a difference between the two, then we have another problem. And while you're still thinking about it, time is still moving. And as time moves, another person's going to come into your space, and then you're going to be number twos to Uber. Because you kept hesitating and you kept overthinking things. Because you know what happens when we're doing this overthinking too, right? We tell ourselves the lie. Going back to the last episode or the last two episodes, the lies that we tell ourselves. We waiting for the right time. Because the right time is a story we tell ourselves to justify not starting. That's a fact. We had a whole episode about that. That is literally a lie that we're just telling ourselves in order to not start. Waiting for the right time. When is going to be the right time? I don't think any entrepreneur, I don't think any major person who's in the arts, person who writes that hit song was waiting for a right time. It just came and they put it out there. It's the same thing. This is the arts. This is the creative arts where we're putting out content to the masses. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, but when you sit there and tell yourself we're waiting for the right time, can somebody, if you know when the right time is, can you please in the comments below tell me what date that is? So that those of us like me that are waiting for the right time, we could actually have it on our calendar so we could finally execute. Because I think that's what we're waiting for. It needs to be on a calendar. We need a deadline for us to actually execute. This is what it seems like to me, because this right time doesn't necessarily exist. It's a concept that's in your mind, and then you're letting it run rampant in your mind to the point where you're now believing it. Conditions are never going to be perfect. Life will always be happening at the same time, no matter how you look at it. You might be in a better situation. You might be able to buy back your time so it allows you more time to put effort into certain things. But until then, you can't use time as an excuse, because time is linear. It only goes forward. It doesn't stop. It doesn't hesitate. It just keeps going. It doesn't care what's in its way. It doesn't care what people are chasing. It's just going to keep going. So why can't you just keep going? There's always going to be a reason to wait. A better season, less on your plate, more money. Big said it best. More money, more problems. The more money we're going to make, the more headaches that's going to come with it, the more pressure that's going to come with that. Do you know the crazy thing is, if we are delaying off of time, if we're delaying because of overthinking, what happens when success hits us? Do you know what pressures come with being successful? We're chasing this thing of success and this double-edged sword that comes with it. But I don't think we're actually preparing ourselves for when success comes. Because that's going to be a different animal in itself. Because now you have to stay consistent or fail. You must stay consistent or fail. Those are the options once success comes. That's why we got to break these habits of lying to ourselves and telling ourselves these asinine things. The people that are building things aren't building them in perfect conditions. They're just going to move anyways. Action creates clarity. You figure out more by starting than by waiting. Because, and I've noticed this, right? On the few things that I did pull the trigger with, like actually starting the pods, actually starting the YouTube pages, and getting back into the gym, the journaling and all that stuff, you actually see things better clear. Because when we're sitting here overthinking it and we're writing down our notes and we're doing all our researches and all that good jazz, that's cool in concept until you actually have to apply it. Because once you start applying it, you'll realize like, oh shit, this doesn't work. But this works better, right? Like, I've done pods before and we were successful. But now the landscape of things has changed. We consume in shorter doses, not saying that people don't like what you're doing. They just want it quick and easy. They might not have the time for an hour to an hour and a half, but they got 15 minutes. 15 minutes, you could hit them with the best 3 segments, 5-minute clips. Or you could fill them with a bunch of 2-minute clips, 90-second clips. And that's what I had to learn in real time. Like, oh shit, the numbers are hitting over there. What did I do different? Ain't nothing you do different. It's the same information. It's just you're giving the consumers what they actually need. And until you actually pull the trigger with action, that's when you're going to know what works and what don't work. Putting it on paper, it all looks great. It all looks great on paper. That's why it's called planning. In the military, we plan for every scenario, and then when we get on the battlefield, the moment that first bullet flies, all that planning went out the fucking window. Now you go back to training. Now you go back to everything and then you're adjusting the plan on the fly. We had to insert in the north. Nope, can't insert there no more. A crater's right in the middle. It's open space. We thought there was trees and rock. No, now we got to insert from downhill while they're shooting back down. Like, the plan changed. The plan looked great on paper until you actually had to execute it in real life. But you're never going to know if it's going to work or if it's not going to work until you actually execute that plan. Because once you execute that plan, now you can go back to the paper and be like, all right, that didn't work. Scrap that. This part is working. Let's actually execute harder on that. Let's put more of our effort behind this part of it. That's where action takes us rather than waiting. Every day you wait is a day your momentum doesn't build. And when you don't have the momentum at your side, just think of it as those of us that are sports enthusiasts. Think of it as this way: we're in the and we'll talk about it on my other pod. We're in the middle of the NHL finals, championship finals. We're in the middle of the NBA championship finals, right? Momentum is a motherfucker when it comes to sports. You can think you have this in the bag. New York Knicks. They go up 2-0 on the road. Now they're coming home. Everybody's getting ready. They're excited. And womp womp. The Spurs came out, knocked them in the fucking mouth. They saw that their first plans did not work the first 2 nights. But there was things that they could hang their hat on. Let's take that into game 3 and work on it and execute to the best of our abilities and stack that win. Now they got to go and do that again. But they have momentum on their side now. Because New York Knicks put the pressure on the Spurs. Their plan, they executed it to the T. They stole 2 on the road, and now they put all the pressure on the Spurs. Now the Spurs gave themselves a little bit of breathing room. Do you know what happens if the Spurs goes ahead and take the 4th game? Now we're talking about a best of 3. Same thing with the Las Vegas Golden Knights versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Momentum shifts at some point. But you're never going to be able to build on that momentum if you're sitting and waiting. If you sit back and wait, that's how you end up losing, getting swept in a series. Because by the time you figure it out, all momentum is on the other side and it's gone. You know? So we can't be waiting anymore. Because the waiting is just losing our momentum. It's losing our audience that we want to go and grab and retain. If we don't have that momentum behind us, we're going to lose them and they're never going to come back. What have we been waiting for that realistically may never arrive the way we keep picturing it? For me, it's the wanting to hold on to this whole aesthetics thing and not just hitting the play messy and just going with it. We could clean things up, right? One thing about when you're doing video and podcasting and all that stuff, they tell you the audience is going to forgive bad visuals, but they'll never forgive bad audio, right? And we say that because we know this is proven. They got to be able to hear you at least. If they can't see you, that's fine. That's fine. We could work with that. We could fix that later on. And these are the things that need to stop struggling with and being honest with myself and realistically just put the product that the people want out there. We could clean it up and make it look nice later on. They don't care about the nice. They're not buying your nice right now. They're trying to figure out if you're their guy. Is this somebody that I want to tune into every week? Is this somebody that's going to give me something every week to tune into? That's another question in itself. The right time isn't found, it's created. And it's created by moving, not waiting. Don't let that go over. The right time isn't found, it's created. And it's created by moving, not waiting. And once you stop waiting, now it becomes about how you actually move. Let's jump into that second core theme of the show. Building momentum. And here's what I want you to understand about momentum, right? It doesn't start big. It's in the small little pockets. We're thinking it's gonna happen in this big old moment and we're gonna just jump viral right then and there, right? No. It don't start big. You crazy? You start small. And it builds and it grows from there. It doesn't start with a perfect plan or a massive move or even everything lined up. It starts with one real decision. One real decision that we made to just start. One real step. And then another. And over time, that becomes everything. Right? One step, keep growing, staying consistent. But let's talk about how you build it. In this segment, it's start small, but start now. Because the first step doesn't have to be the biggest one. It just has to be real. I'll give myself a little bit of grace. I started. I've been hesitating. I wanted the right cameras. I wanted the lighting. I wanted this. Eventually, I just said, screw it. And I just started. I started, and then it stayed consistent. It was consistently 2. And I think one of them was my wife. The other one was probably me on another account. On some KD shit on a burner account. Then consistently I started seeing 4 to 5. I was like, all right. Cool. Then it was like 7 consistent. And then it's 12 to 13 consistent. then you stop being consistent. See, you started with real, you started building the momentum, and then it got a little shaky and wavy. Why? Because you started overthinking some steps along the way, not realizing you started building something by just starting and then moving, consistently moving, right? Remove the overwhelm by focusing on only what immediately is in the next part of the plan. Just get to the next part. I think even for me, we're trying to execute the whole thing all at once. It doesn't work like that. Every plan has different segments of it. Every plan has different parts to it, right? We have to be able to, okay, we made it to this part. We started the pod. Okay, now it's okay, we got to get consistently every week. We got to pump this thing out. That's the next part. Okay, now I need to make sure that I'm doing this. Okay, oh, just saw something. Instead of doing just only long form, let's get the minis out there. Let's get the shorts out there and keep building this page because we have the consistent 10 plus. Now we got to get that 10 to about 15 to 20. 25 ideal. How are we gonna do that? We're gonna capture them another 5 to 10. We're just doing some minis. All right, let's get the minis out there to the people. Okay, we're gonna get another 5 to 10 by using the shorts. All right, let's grab our best shorts out of the show. That the not the thing that's gonna, not the thing that we're so necessarily about viral, but the content that we feel as though people that's part of this legacy building movement. What do they want? Everything else will fall into place. Right? So we have to remove that overwhelming feeling on focusing on what's immediately next and not the whole plan. Because small actions beat perfect in action every single time. Thought I turned everything off. Excuse me. But again, I say small actions beats perfect in action every single time. Because you're perfectly not moving, cool. All right. We didn't fail. That's cool. But little small actions that we take, that is part of the success journey. And success is based off of whatever you feel is successful for you. I can't. It's just the same thing as legacy. How do you define legacy? Is how you're going to define success. Everybody is not the same. It's all going to be different. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. I saw that and I had to put that into my notes. It was like a little meme thing that I saw. I was like, some staircases go on for forever. Think of the Great China Wall. Jaylen Brown's out in China, and I think it just popped into my head right now. The Great China Wall, it just keeps fucking going. I don't know what the hell the end is, but we're just gonna keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep going. When me and Tiffany was on the European tour honeymoon, honeymoon one, when we was in Greece and we wanted to get to the top and the boats drop you off. I forget where we was at, but you wanted to get to the top, but it's like we could have took the donkeys, but it was like, man, I ain't taking no damn donkey all the way up there. What if he drops me or whatever? We walked. We don't know where the end was. Like, yes, you know where the end was. It's all the way up there. But we had to start by taking one step. And we just kept taking that step, taking the steps, till we got to the top. So why can't we apply that in life? We don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. Consistency over intensity. Something every day beats something once. Right? If we're doing something every day consistently, or if we're doing something let's take it in steps, right? I know on Sundays I'm building out all my scripts. I'm writing down all my notes for the show. I have my themes and all that stuff. But I probably should start a few days earlier, but Sundays work best, right? And I know that's the first step of actually getting this out. The next step is, depending on what day it is, that's when I sit down and I do my recordings. Then I send it out to my editor, and they do their editing stuff. They get about 24, 48 hours, depending on if I stay consistent with my stuff. They turn it around. I then get the final product. I then now have to put the write up for the show based off of everything that we talked about. I take the raw transcript and I write up the write ups for both, to put on the audio side and then on the visual side on the YouTube. And then from there, I create my graphics for the show. Got it. You're not creating from scratch, and some things are not created from scratch. You just duplicate, you change the episode number, you change the title, and then you go, and then you post it. You schedule, post it, and that's the 4 to 5 steps that it takes to put this thing out, right? Now, what happens is when you're not consistent with the stuff, right? This is what happens. Sunday comes along, you don't write out your show notes, you don't put the run of show together, and you have all the ideas in your mind. Then Monday rolls around, you have to deal with Monday problems. Monday, you have your quick thought of the day, so you're doing that. You're in the gym, and Mondays is when I want to put out at least one. Monday and Fridays is when I'm going to try to put out at least one gym workout. Even though I'm going throughout the whole week, I want to do at least two things, staying consistent with the gym. So now you're recording your gym workout, you're editing that. Oh, by the way, you're also doing your quick thought of the days on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So then you have those little nuggets that you think about, like, hey, what happened? What do I want to talk about, and all that good stuff. This is all the creative stuff that's supposed to be happening on Sunday, except for the workout stuff that happens live action. But if you miss your Sunday step, Monday gets screwed up. Monday, now you're trying to play catch up for all this stuff, and by the time, and there's still regular work, there's still businesses that you got to run, real estate, trucking, and all that other stuff. You still got to be a dad, you still got to be a husband, and by the time it's all said and done, now you done put yourself in a position where you got to choose: do I go to sleep and start fresh the next day, or do I attempt to put all these thoughts together when I know I'm dog ass tired and it's probably not going to sound right? Then I'm going to have to redo it all over again anyways. That one little step, not staying consistent here, then threw a whole week off. But we've talked about this a quick thought of the days. We can't let one slip up ruin a whole week. We just got to figure it out. But this is why we have to do this consistency thing. Because consistency is better than intensity. Something that we do every day beats something that we do just one time. Because then it becomes a natural flow of things. Obviously, there's going to be times where it messes up, but we know what we need to do, right? And the question for this segment is, what's one real step, not a perfect one, a real one, that I can take today? I think for me, it's starting, because lo and behold, this ain't Monday night I'm recording. This is Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, I had to get up a little bit earlier, and I had to change my schedule around. That means now I'm not gonna go to the gym in the morning. I'm gonna have to go to the gym in the evening. Try to squeeze it in right before I do my Tuesday recordings. But that's a step I had to take, because I have to make sure that I stay according, not to plan, but according to the consistency. Making sure that I'm taking the steps up that staircase, no matter what. It doesn't matter if I can't see the end. I just got to keep taking the steps. You don't need a big move. You just need a real one. And a real one today beats a perfect one someday. Because once you start, something starts to shift. Momentum starts to build. And that's where we want to be, momentum builders. Because in this segment is consistency over motivation. Because motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. Discipline is a decision, right? And we've talked about this a quick thought of the days that I put out on social media platforms. We could be motivated on Monday, ready to go, grinding. Look at me. By Wednesday, motivation feeling is wearing off. Now we got to make decisions. We got to be disciplined and make the decisions to actually keep going when we don't feel that rah feeling anymore. Where we can't just, every time we need to go, we have to go to social media. We have to go to this other thing. We got to get a talk from somebody and all that, because we're not kids. We're making real life decisions. Decisions that's going to alter our life. Decisions that's going to alter the legacy that we're building in real time. Motivation is always going to get you started, but it's not designed to sustain you. I mean, some people, they tune into motivational stuff. They got their motivation people that they're going to tune in. That's part of their daily routine. They're going to tune in and get them words from those people. Power to you guys. You understand who you are, and I'm not going to break that from you. I'm not going to seek out motivation every day. So that means I got to stay disciplined to the task at hand. I got to stay disciplined to this legacy thing. And the way that I stay disciplined is in the decisions that I'm making. That's the sustainability of the whole thing. Waiting until you feel motivated is another version of you waiting for the right time, to be honest. Because even if you see that video, how many videos is going to take for you to see before you actually get that feeling back on Wednesday and Thursday? Monday, it hit right because you're in that space, that energy. You know what I mean? But Wednesday, Thursday, those are drag out days. That's like a boxer in you in the 7th round, and you're like, God, I'm still here. I didn't knock this fool out. I still gotta keep fighting this. Oh my God, it's going to the 9. That's what Wednesday, Thursday feel like. You in round 7, with still 2 more rounds to go, and you hurting. But that's the version of yourself when you're waiting for the right time. The people doing the work aren't always feeling it. They just show up every day. I'm going to tell you right now, there's days, and this is why I know me. There's days when Monday, Wednesday, Friday come rolling around and I got to do a quick thought of the day. This is why I stopped doing quick thought of the days, because I wasn't motivated to create. I have the ideas, and I'll turn the camera on and start recording. I was like, man, I don't believe this shit. But then I had to tell myself, I was like, all right, maybe it's the ideas that we're doing. Maybe it's not resonating with you, and that's what's holding you up, right? But I know now, even though I'm not motivated to do that joint right now, I still have to show up. I got to get the message out there, because somebody out there, out of the 700 eyeballs that hits these quick thought of the days consistently, there's at least 7 to 70 people that will actually affect their day. Why am I going to rob them of that? Because I wasn't feeling it that day. The message wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant for me. And like I said, I'm a faith-based person. That idea was put to me for a reason. And that's the part I got to remember. It ain't for me. It's for somebody else. It's for the 7. It's for the 70. That 1% of the 700 that consistently sees the videos of the quick thought of the days. You know what I mean? It's like we have to realize that we have to show up even in the moments where we're not feeling it. That's the discipline part. That's built through repetition, not inspiration. If we're looking for inspiration and motivation every single time, then maybe we need to figure out another way to do this thing, right? Because we got to show up no matter what. You were designed and built for this thing. Your voice impacts other people. That message was given to you, not for you, but for somebody else. Why are you robbing out of the person? Because you ain't feeling it right now? Feel the impact that you're doing on somebody else's legacy, on somebody else's life. You're helping out, because that person's legacy is going to trickle down into at least 2 to 3 generations. And you take that win, stack that win, knowing that you're affecting multiple generations. with just your words. And all you got to do is just show up. Show up on the days when you're not feeling it. Your future self is being built right now by the decisions that you're making in your present moment. And as somebody like me, and my other creatives that are out there, your decisions are impacting other generations. It's not just your generation. It's not just your legacy. You're helping shaping, molding other people's legacies and their generations to come as well. Their present, and their future. Am I only moving when I feel like it, or am I building the discipline to move regardless? I think now, knowing what I know, I think I move more on discipline. I've been a whole lot more consistent in moving in discipline rather than moving in feeling, because I realize, like I just said, it's not about me. Not every message is technically for me. It could have been a thought that I was having. Those ones are more fulfilling, because it's like, oh my God, that's a thought. I got to get that out there. That was a feeling thing. But on the other days when that feeling's not there, and we got to go to the list and think of, and those top 5 things that we've been sitting on, it's like, oh, let's talk about this one. I don't know why I picked number 3 over number 2 over number 5. That one right in the moment, that's the one that said that I wanted to talk about. All right, let's talk about it. 90 seconds, go. Can't be moving on feels. We got to move with discipline. Motivation is always going to get you started, but consistency is going to keep you going. And consistency is a choice. It's not a feeling. And when you stay consistent, something starts to compound. You know where I'm going with this. We've been talking about it. It's part of the challenge. And if you don't know what the challenge is, on my quick thought of the day, I said that I want us for the month of June to win 22 out of the 30 days. 22 out of the 30 days in June. That'll give us 154 wins to stack for the remainder of the year, if we stay on that trajectory. 22, it just worked out perfectly for me. 22 is my legacy number, but 22 actually gives us 5 days out of the week. That means you get to save your weekends. Don't even put the pressure on yourself for those weekends. 22 days, 22 wins. That's all we need. That's where we're going to build this momentum off. We're going to stack the small wins. That's what this segment's about. Because small wins don't just feel good. They build the belief that change is actually happening. That's why we want to stack the small wins. That's why I challenged us to know what a win actually looks like for the day. Like for me, a win for the day for me is, did I complete one? I have 3 things that I'm trying to work on for these next 90 days. It's financial health, health goals, personal health goals with staying consistent in the gym. And what's the third one? Jesus Weezus. And growing my business, right? So those are the 3 main things that I'm trying to work on. Now, those 3 main things, I break them down on small wins that I could get accomplished in the day, right? Did I go to the gym today? Or did I get some type of workout today? Did I go golfing? Did I walk? Did I go for a walk because I missed the gym, right? These are the ways that I'm getting that small win there. Secondly, what did I do to grow my business? Did I put out my quick thought of the days? Did I record Dear Legacy or Please Excuse My Ball on time and get it to the editors so that we could delivering it to the people on time, right? The financial health. Am I putting away this week I know I'm making X amount of dollars, right? In income, whether it be from real estate, whether it be from trucking, whether it be from the 9 to 5, whether it be from speaking engagements, the income that's coming in, am I putting aside the stuff that's going to go towards the investment portfolios? Am I putting away the stuff for the Bartholomew Legacy Trust? Am I putting stuff away for Caden's 529 and his investment portfolio? Where's the life insurance policies at? Where are we at with the estate planning? You know what I mean? Like where's the trust at? So these are the little nuggets that I do. And if I hit all 3 major, if I applied one small win to that, that's a win for the day. Hitting 2 out of 3, that's not a win day. That's a successful day, but I didn't win the day. I have to do 3 things that's applied towards those 3 major goals daily in order for me to say that I won the day. And I think right now I am looking at, we're 10 days in. I'm on day 5. 5 wins. I think I had 3 were last week. No, 4 wins, 4 1 days last week, 1 day so far this week. Right? But I'm stacking them. And then what I also said in that quick thought of the day is I want to make sure that the number's 22, but if I hit 19, I'm not going to boo-hoo and cry in the corner. That's a successful month. You're talking about somebody that wasn't stacking no wins at all to now we're stacking 19. So that means when July rolls around, that's the number. I got to beat 19 now. Maybe then I hit the 22. Or even if I hit the 22 this month, that's great. Now you set the bar. Let's go get 23 in July. Right? So then we change that 154 to 155. August, how many days can we win in August? You know what I mean? Like, that's how we stack these wins. Momentum is built through evidence, and small wins are those evidence, right? Like, I feel like I'm winning when I hit those 3 on those daily battles. I was like, bet. Like, I got to the journal and I was like, oh shoot. I hit the 3 and I got to my secondary list. So not only did I hit my priorities list, but I got to my secondary list. That is a win plus bonus. You know what I mean? So like, and it makes you feel good. For those of us that work off of feels, it makes you feel good. It starts to build that momentum that we was just talking about. Because now you want to drag that into the next day. Like right now, I'm trying to build a streak. I haven't built it yet because Tuesday's already thrown off. Now, can I save today? Yeah, I probably could save today. And the problem that's going to happen today is, where am I going to get the gym time in? Where am I going to get the health part in, right? Maybe I just got to go for a walk around the neighborhood. After I record later on tonight, maybe I go for a walk around the neighborhood, get about like 2-3 miles in. You know what I mean? Then I could stack that win. I could stack that day, and that's a streak of 2. Then once I get the streak of 2, now I'm trying to, how we get that streak to 3. You know what I mean? The New York Knicks won 13 games in a row. You know how hard that is for a professional basketball team in the playoffs to win 13 games in a row? Yes, they finally lost one, but hey, listen, slips happen. But they got 13 win streak. That's what I'm trying to get. That unlucky number that people talk about, 13. 13 and 22. You'll hear it a lot of times when we're on the show together, man. Where we at? Every time you do what you say you would, you build trust with yourself. That's a fact. It's not even just you build trust with yourselves. I think in what I was trying to get with here is, you're starting to actually believe that you can actually achieve the success that you said that you wanted to do. And you start to quiet the noise. The noise that's telling you wait for the right time. Let's plan this out a little bit more. No. Because we've just realized we ain't got to do all that. I ain't got to listen to your little voice no more. I'm gonna listen to this wins, because the evidence showed me that I could be successful. So that's where I'm going with this. You know what I mean? Progress doesn't have to be dramatic to be real. It just has to be consistent. And consistency is those streaks. That's why I'm trying to get to 3. I'm trying to get to 3. We'll see how the day goes. Because if I get this 2, I know for sure I'm getting that 3. Because I already rearranged stuff so I can make sure that I'm sticking to schedule. I'm sticking to routine. Small wins compound. What looks like nothing in 1 week looks like everything in month 6. Because we started stacking those little wins. We're trying to get to the end of the year where we're like, oh shit, look what we accomplished. I don't want to go into 2027 wondering what happened in 2026. How did I not achieve this? How did I not accomplish this? We left that in 25. We came into 26 and said 26 is going to be different. We let a couple months slide by, even though we was having some progress, but we didn't have that routine. We didn't have something to stay consistent and accountable to. And now we did that. May By the time May rolled around, now we have something. We have the schedule, we have the routine, we have the journaling. We're doing this, and now June is where we're gonna now start stacking these wins before we get to that other side of the calendar, because then that gives us 6 months. If June is our playground area. May we was testing things out. June, this is the action month where we're actually applying this stuff and seeing in real time, does it actually work, and what do we need to tweak before we get into July, because that's the next side of the calendar. That's 6 months left. We could be some bosses by the end of 26 if we utilize those last 6 months. But it starts right here in June. It starts in June. It don't got to be dramatic. It just got to be consistent. Compound those little wins. And they're not little. I say little, but it's just because of how the verbiage is, right? Because every win is a win. It don't matter if you blow a team out by 40 points or if you win by 1 point. It's still going to put a W in that column or a loss in that column. We're not chasing perfection. We're building for proof. Proof is what we're looking for. Proof is in the pudding. What's one small win you can create for yourself this week? Something you could actually point to. Right? And I told you, I already stacked one win by getting up earlier today and recording this. I'm not gonna let it drag out until Wednesday night after I do this. No, get it to the editors today. That way we still have a fighting chance to get it out for Wednesday. Because we get it out for Wednesday, then that little change on getting up earlier, yes, you might have sacrificed your gym time, but you could adjust the gym time by going for a walk later on. So I'm still going to get my win there. Let's get our win here so we can stay consistent to get it to the 13 that's been consistently with you, building this momentum thing with you. Small wins don't look like much in the moment until you look back and realize they became everything. After a while, it's not just about what you're doing, it's about who you're becoming through it. And that's based off of those small wins. Let's jump into this last core theme here. Theme 3, becoming who you said you'd be. And this is where the arc starts to close for us. Because we started this journey in episode 10 through today, right? Talking about what we accept, what you decide, what you ignore, and what you avoid, right? Those were the storylines that we was going with. And all of it is being pointed to the same thing. Who we're becoming through all of this. Not who you say you are. Not who you say you want to be someday. Who are you actually becoming right now? Through your habits, through your choices, through how you show up every single day. That's what this last stretch is about. This episode right here. Let's jump into these last few segments, because segment 7, this is what we do. We're identifying over outcomes. Not identifying, I'm sorry. Identity over outcomes. Because you can chase outcomes your whole life and still feel empty at the end. If who you are doesn't match what you're building, what is the point? That's when you end up feeling empty. You could be productive and chase outcomes all day, every day, and actually hit some outcomes, but still feel empty. Because it doesn't match what you're actually trying to build. The part when you define what legacy is to you, the way you was building it, the way you was living it didn't match how you defined it. That's how you're going to end up feeling empty on the inside. It's crazy for me to even say this because of how we've been talking all day, stacking the small wins and all that stuff. But at the same time, you got to stop measuring yourself only by results. Start measuring yourself by who you're becoming in the process. So I know we're results-based people, and nowadays with all the tech that we have, it's all about analytics and all that stuff. Yes, we use analytics as a tool, right? But at the end of the day, who are we actually becoming? When we're looking at the analytics and we're reading it, we're taking it back and we're stacking our small wins. When we stack these wins and all that stuff, is it going back to what we defined legacy as to us? Or is it to somebody else's? Because the crazy thing is, outcomes are going to come and they're going to go. Identity, who you are, is what's going to stay. That's what's going to stay behind. That is your legacy part. That is when you leave this earth, that dash on a tombstone. What does that represent? And then not only the dash, the generation behind you. How did you leave that one? How did you leave that next generation, if not two? That's the identity part of this legacy stuff. The habits you repeat daily are building a version of you, whether you're paying attention to it or not, right? I want to say that I am consistent in what I do. If it's something that I say that I want to make sure that I'm doing the daily habits. I'm doing my journaling. I'm sitting down and with all my on my creative day on Sunday, and I'm doing my runner shows for all my pods. I'm doing my creative things for my quick thought of the days. I'm thinking about my gym stuff. I'm looking out what the gym workouts are going to be for that week and which one I actually going to record and what am I going to stay in the captions on. That's my creative day. That day, Sunday, that starts the week, is going to set the momentum for the remainder of the week. When I'm journaling, what am I going to do to assist the 3 major goals that I have for this quarter, right? This 90-day journey that I'm on in the journaling or whatever, right? Am I waking up in the morning and I'm doing my morning routines, my meditation, my journaling, my stretching? Because I'm old, y'all. I got to stretch to make sure that it kickstarts for the day. This is life after 40, man. We have to be intentional in every decision that we make. From the moment we get blessed and our eyes open and we get to take that first breath for the day to the moment we take our last breath to go to sleep. Not last breath forever, but like last breath to go to sleep, to end the day. Were we intentional in all the steps that we took? And how are we going to stack each day to get these wins? The 22 minimum. And build off of that, right? Because we don't want to overthink anymore. We're past that. We're not overthinking. We're not over planning. We're taking action on a daily basis to create this new identity that's called you. And that is shaping who you are and what this legacy thing is for you. Not for anybody else, but for you. You and the generations behind you. That's what habit building does. You have to keep in mind, if you want different results, become a different version of yourself. The moment you become a different version of yourself, you're going to be getting different results. And those results will follow. Identity is the foundation. Outcomes are the evidence. Once you create this new identity, those outcomes, the outcomes that we've been chasing, they become the evidence of that new identity, of the foundation that you set. This legacy thing that you're building. See how it all plays and comes into each other? And all it took was for you to stop overthinking things, stop over planning, and actually taking some action. Question is, who do my daily habits and decisions say I'm becoming right now? Honestly, for me, I think my daily habits are building towards what I define legacy is for me. It's also my daily habits is what's going to grow my businesses on all avenues, right? Whether it be in media, speaking, trucking, real estate, all of it. It all plays a part by the daily habits that I'm doing right now, being intentional in how I'm moving. Because we have to keep in mind that you don't become something in one day. You become it through what you do daily. Every day is a new vote. Every day is a new way, a wave of momentum that you're trying to create. And once you shift your focus to who you are, you start showing up different. Different in a good sense. Because one thing's for sure, two things for certain, just like this last segment is talking about, this next segment is talking about showing up regardless. Because we kind of talked about this. Sometimes you got to show up and it's not even going to be for you. Because the version of you you're trying to become doesn't only show up when it's convenient. It's going to show up when it's inconvenient. It's going to show up when it's messy. It's going to show up when you don't want to. It's going to show up when you don't feel like it. It's going to show up when you're sick. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's going to show up in the time that it feels like showing up. Now, who you are, the habits that you created, is going to dictate if you're going to show up regardless. The good days are always going to be easy. They're good days. The test is, who are you when the days are hard? You know, when we was in the military, we always used to say, act and move as if somebody's always watching, right? But there's days where it's hard, man. I just want to take a shortcut. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing going through all the motions of this Battle Drill 6 right now. I don't feel like I need to on this air assault. I could do this. But you know what happens? Once you break that situation, remember when we talked about we can have all the planning. We go through weeks of planning. We go through motions. We got this. We know this. And then the moment you get on ground and that first bullet flies, all that planning just went out the window. Those are the hard days that we're talking about. The days when it's not going according to plan. The days when you're not feeling like it. But you got to show up regardless. Discipline in those moments, you don't feel like it. That's what separates growth from intention. We talk about moving intentionally a lot on this show and in on my social media platforms. And the reason why is like, that's the discipline part. Discipline is the intention behind what you're doing. Discipline and it separates the growth aspect. So going from overthinking to feeling overwhelmed to the over planning, this is what gets you into that next phase, moving with intention. And that is where you're going to start to see the actual growth. That's when you're going to start staying consistent with things. Because consistency on the bad days builds more character than consistency on the good days. Because on the good days, it's easy to be consistent. Be consistent on the bad day. Be consistent on the day where you just don't feel like it. You're building a whole new you. You're building a character that you did not see before. Because you're disciplined in the matter. Showing up when it's inconvenient is proof. Not a plan. Not intention, but proof. Proof that your legacy isn't built in highlights. It's built in the ordinary days. The question you got to ask yourself is, do I actually show up when I feel ready, or am I building the identity of someone who shows up regardless? Truth be told, I'm in the middle right now. I think I'm building the identity of somebody who shows up regardless. I don't think I'm fully there all the way, if I'm being completely honest. Because there's days where it's like that feeling does take over and it throws the week off. And I play catch up or whatever the case may be. But when you're playing catch up, something else is slipping. You're not hitting all three major goals. You're not even making it to your secondary list for sure to get those bonus wins. So that means then you're not stacking the days by my definition of how I stack my wins. That's how we're going to fall short of the 22, because we wasn't moving intentionally. If I'm being honest. See, the version of you you're trying to become shows up even when it's inconvenient. That's how you know it's real. And when you show up consistently, Alignment stops being a feeling of a chase. It starts being the life that you live. It becomes normalcy. That's what we're trying to get to. That's what's on the other side of this thing of why I'm big on the journaling, why I'm big on routines, why I'm big on planning but not over planning. Just starting. This is why I'm big on this stuff. Because it starts becoming your life. Living in alignment daily. Ooh, this next segment before we get to the final segment of the show. Living in alignment daily. Because alignment isn't a destination, it's practice. I don't think we understood that. That's not the end of the journey. It's practice along the journey. Because this journey is going to keep continuing, right? This is not the destination when you get to the alignment part. It's the practicing that we're doing. It's the intentional movements. It's the starting. It's the not over planning and overthinking and all that. Moving with consistency. That's what it's about. Alignment isn't something you find once and keep it forever. It's something that you got to choose every day. Every day you got to get up and do that morning routine. Every day you got to get into that journal and see, how did I stack up from yesterday? How did I stack these wins? Did I get the win for the day yesterday, right? Every day we got to wake up and do these things. Your daily decisions are either pulling you towards who you said you want to be or pulling you away from it. No matter what, you're making a decision. It's just a matter of which direction you're going. Are you going towards the person that you say you want to be, or are you going away from that person that you say you want to be? That's what it comes down to. That's intentional living. It isn't about being perfect. It's about being present and purposeful. When your actions match your values, you stop feeling the friction, and then that's where you're in your alignment. That's when you're in your legacy building. That's what it actually looks like. In real time, small, intentionally moving daily. So you got to ask yourself, are your daily actions aligned with what you say you want? Or are you still living on autopilot? I could honestly say I stopped moving on autopilot. Even in the days when I might slip, it's still not autopilot. It's just there was a bad decision that was made that allowed a slip to happen, but it's not autopilot anymore. I was in autopilot at the beginning of the year. First Q1 of this year, definitely was on autopilot. I was just going with the motions of things and hoping and wishing that it all aligned perfectly, until I realized, like, no, I'm not doing some intentional steps. I'm not moving with intention to actually get to the results that I said that I want. And since I started doing that, I've seen not only success in my businesses in real estate and trucking, in my 9 to 5 personal life, you know what I mean? The financial health situation is getting a whole lot better because I'm doing those intentional things. That's now garnering better results and more opportunities to generate more income, thus allowing me to stack more and more wins. And we're not even out of Q2 yet. That's the beauty of stacking these things once you start moving with intention. So we got to get off of this autopilot and actually start moving daily the way that we say that we want to move, because alignment isn't something that you find, it's something that you live, and you build it one intentional decision at a time. So now it's not about what you know. Let me flip it back on you this time. Let's get to our 4 questions of the day and we can wrap up the show. Question 1, right? Where are we going with this one? What is one thing you believe What is one thing you've been sitting on that you know needs to move from I should do to I did? Because at this point of the arc, we're past the awareness. You know what it is. And every day it stays in I should territory, it costs you something. Time, momentum, belief in yourself. Avoiding it doesn't make it easier. It just makes it later, and later has a cost. Question 2. What does your next real step look like? Not the perfect one, but the real one. Because perfection is a trap. It sounds like preparation, but it's usually just more sophisticated version of waiting. The real step is a messy one, the one that isn't ready yet, the one that you take anyways. Progress doesn't come from perfect. It comes from movement. Real movement is now. Question 3. What does consistency look like for you this week? Specifically this week. Not in theory anymore. We're not working in theory anymore. Not someday, this week. What are you doing on Tuesday when you don't feel like it? What are you going to do on Thursday when life has been loud, messy, out of control, threw you off track? That's what consistency actually is. Not the good weeks, the regular ones, the everyday week. Consistency isn't about doing everything. It's about doing something intentionally every single day. Last question. When you look at your daily actions right now, do they match what they say that you want? Because this is one that closes the loop. This episode right here. It closes the loop. Episode 10 asks, what are we accepting? Episode 11 asks, what are you deciding? 12 took us on a journey on what are we feeling. 13 asks whether you're being honest with yourself or are you still lying. 14 asks the final questions. Are you actually moving? Not talking about planning to move, not ready to move, moving. Your actions will always tell the truth. Even when your words don't, make sure they're telling the right story. And once you're honest about that, there's nothing left to figure out. And it's just time to move. Let's wrap it up. At this point, you don't need more information. You don't need more clarity. You already have enough. You know what needs to change. You know what you've been avoiding. You know what the next step needs to be for you to take. And we spent 5 episodes getting here. 5 episodes of looking at your standards, your decisions, the signals you've been ignoring, the lies you've been telling yourself. And now there's only one thing left. Action. Not perfect action. Not everything all at once. Just real movement in the direction you already know you need to go. Because the difference between staying where you are and becoming who you said you wanted to be is what you do next. So don't wait. Don't overthink. Don't talk yourself out of it. Take the next step. Make the move. Start where you are. Because you've been doing the work. You've done the work of being honest. Now it's time to do the work of becoming. And that starts right now. Not when you're ready. Now. And it's a perfect way to close this arc and then go to the volume recap. And then now we've been together for a minute. I've been teasing it for episodes now, but now is the time. After this episode, it's time to start taking action. It's time for me to open it up to others, to now come and start talking to my 13 consistent, to let's get that 13 to 25, that 25 to 50, 50 to 100,000. My consistent 1,000 people. That's who I'm targeting. If this episode gave you something to think about, go ahead and subscribe to Dear Legacy. Welcome to the movement. Drop a comment. follow us on social media, and share it with someone building their legacy in real time. Till then, go define it, go build it, and go live it. It's your boy Kevin B. The Brand. See you next week. Peace.